it's what's driving that need to cheat as well.
We're talking about cheating.
Women are more good at hiding it than men, so I'm not sure about the stats.
You ever cheated on someone?
I have, yes.
Okay, we're talking about cheating. Anita, how are you feeling about this topic this morning?
I love this one. Absolutely love it. One of my favourites. What about you?
Yeah, I think I've got a bit of anxiety about it. I've cheated on someone. It is a shit show. It is a not recommended experience. Yeah. I think globally 40% of men cheat and it's like 30% of women. Women are known to have more emotional affairs than physical, which says a lot about us. But
I thought you were going to say women are more good at hiding it than men, so I'm not sure about the stats.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, what do you think? I mean, do you think women are better at hiding it?
I don't. I mean, I don't. The only reason I say that. What's that?
Have you ever cheated on someone?
I have, yes. When I was this is it. I was 19 years old, and I was dating this guy that I absolutely adored. Like, I'd had boyfriends before, but this was the first time that I would say I was in love with him without us having said it. But I think it was like this whole experience where I was in a nightclub in Tenerife when I was 19 years old, and he walked past me and I was like, he is gorgeous. So I was straight up to him. And then we spent the whole night talking. I actually remember it really well. And then it was just like love, like so quickly. And I wasn't even with him for that long, but it was so instant. But I started university a couple of months after we'd met. And there was this guy at uni who just would not leave me alone. This guy hounded me and I enjoyed the attention and I kissed him.
Yeah.
And I was just literally like, I kissed him and I don't even know if I felt bad. I think at that stage, I didn't take men seriously. I didn't realize that men had emotions. I thought men were different from women, right? And so I was kind of like laughing and joking about the fact that I'd done it. And in the end, I remember it wasn't long after that, but I sat down and I told him that I'd kissed someone. Yeah. And he broke up with me not long after that. He didn't cite those reasons as it, but I mean, it was pretty obvious that was what it would have been. And I spent the next 7 years regretting and just being so upset with myself for what I'd done, because I just really, really liked him. And it was this whole time, it was pre-mobile phones. I think I had a mobile, but it wasn't, it was just something that you had in case you needed it in an emergency. I don't even know whether he had one. There was no social media, so I couldn't contact him. And I remember just over these 7 years, never meeting anyone that came anywhere close. I didn't have a boyfriend in that time. Oh, I was just like, because I'm very much like, it takes a lot for me to like someone. Like, I'm still like it now, right? And he was my person. And for 7 years, I literally regretted that so much. And it was quite funny because after the 7 years, I met my long-term ex. And one day, a few months after we'd got together, I was in a nightclub and I spotted a guy across the floor, the dance floor. And I thought, I recognise him, but I didn't think too much of it. Next minute, this guy comes over and it was my ex. I hadn't seen him in the whole time. I had no contact. I just spent 7 years regretting this decision. And it was so ironic because this guy in the nightclub there was not the hot guy that I was running after in a nightclub 7 years ago, right? He'd changed and he wasn't my the fit little guy that and he came up to me and he gave me a hug and he said, I've been in a relationship for 7 years. And he goes, and I've not stopped thinking about you during that time. And I'd been thinking about him and he'd been thinking about me. And I was like, but I wasn't attracted to him anymore. And I was really into my new boyfriend, my long-term date.
So was
it was just one of those moments
and that you weren't physically attracted? Is that what you were saying? No. Okay. Yeah. So you're quite a visual person, is that right?
Very visual, and he'd actually put on quite a bit of weight. I don't know, he wasn't what he was when he was 19, right? We're 26 now. And and basically that was when my relationship with regret ended. Because I thought, you spent 7 years regretting something, you've met someone who I really liked. And it was, it took 7 years
Yeah.
to meet someone again. And it was just like, there was no need to regret it. It was kind of like trusting the process of life, and that I wasn't meant to be with him and all the rest of it. And I'd met my new
Mm.
partner and all. Yeah. So that was it. So that was my one and only, but it was a massive lesson in, let's not do that again.
Yeah.
Let's not do
And
that again.
what was the lesson? Like, what was the feeling? What was, how really define that lesson for me, if you don't mind?
Mm. So I think I was so sad for 7 years. For me, it was rare to meet someone that I really, really liked. As I said, it still is. And it was just that thing of going, it wasn't worth it. I kissed someone just because they were attracted to me. I wasn't particularly, he was all right, but it was nothing like,
Mm.
like the
Yeah.
other one. And I just, allowed myself. I remember he cornered me. It was in broad daylight. This guy at university just cornered me outside my house and just kissed me. And it was nice. Like I just, I got,
Yeah.
into the whole romantic, moment of it. And
Mm-hmm.
what for, in theory? That was it. It
Yeah.
was like, what was it all for? Just for that one moment of something. And it was
Was
never
it
going to
the
be a relationship with this guy. And yeah.
Was it the feeling that, so after you cheated, was it the feeling of, I don't like feeling this way, like deceptive, or was it the feeling of I lost something because of deception?
Yeah, it was loss. Yeah, it was loss. I,
Loss.
I think I tend to go more for the sadness and loss. That's more my go-to rather than,
Mhm.
yeah. I didn't see myself as being someone really mean and deceptive. I don't know. I guess I don't judge myself that harshly. I thought I
Uh,
made the wrong decision, but it was
mm,
more around what I'd lost,
mhm.
right, more than anything
So
else for me
consequence
personally.
driven. It was
Yeah,
your regret was consequence. Had you
yeah.
not actually, like, say this never came out or you never mentioned it, I wonder, would the feeling be there? Would you have learnt the lesson of cheating causes this consequential regret?
I couldn't see myself not telling that. It's just it's very unlike me to do that. I like when
Mm,
I'm with someone, there's honesty. Like I'll meet someone now. If I like you, I'm telling you I love you in the first 2 minutes. I'm telling you my whole life story. I'm telling you everything. I like the honesty. I like the
yeah.
connection and the closeness of that honesty. So I couldn't see myself not telling that, not
Mm,
telling someone. That would be quite
mm.
unusual. Yeah.
And then I
So yeah,
wonder,
yeah.
this is how we get into deception, we get into cheating. There's cheating and then coming clean, and there's cheating where continuing to be deceptive, I guess. And because you don't want the consequence. And I wonder if not owning up to the consequence is what makes a continuous cheater.
Potentially. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's definitely, yeah, something. Um, but I think also, yeah, along with that as well, it is what's driving that need to cheat as well. And I think
Mm,
something we talked about, didn't we, the other day was the
yeah.
word validation came up. That comes up quite a lot when I
Hmm.
speak to people about why they've cheated, and we get really down to the core of it. It's like needing the external validation in order to
Yeah.
feel enough. And I know people go, oh, that's not an excuse. Well, it's not an excuse, it's a need. And
Yeah.
it's very common, very common.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. I think every time I've ever been in that situation, yeah, it was, needing that validation. And then when I had that done back to me, the person I was with was very, very external referent. "Ooh, you're just cutting out. Hello. Hello, Anita."
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
sorry,
here,
it's
I'm here.
paused. Yeah, the person that cheated on me was very insecure. And I noticed that the cheating, if your sense of self isn't well rounded and whole. And when I say sense of self, I don't mean identity and personality. Sense of self
Mhm.
means knowing which different parts of yourself. Because I don't think we should be attached to identity or personality. That's construct. But sense of
Yeah,
self, knowing this part, that part, this whole rounded space of who you are. If you don't have an awareness of that, I find the cheating is easier
okay.
because I from my observation and my experience,
Yeah,
that because you're constantly looking out here for those sense of selves to be, again, validated or
yes,
seen or heard or
yes.
or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, totally get
Yeah.
you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Just
What do you so what do you think about the whole this is quite typical for people to go, I cheated because I don't feel connected to the other person. They're not giving me enough attention. There's something wrong in the relationship, all of those kind of
uh
reasons.
well, it's not a because, it's a reason. I mean, when I cheated on someone, it was because I didn't have enough courage to leave, and I used
Okay.
that behavior as a catalyst to blow up my life. Because having a reason was easier than just saying, I don't want to do this anymore.
Amazing. Wow. And did you get
Mm.
caught, or was it the
Uh
reason yeah. How did it
yeah, I did. I was very quickly. I wasn't really hiding it well. But I think, yeah, and I also was mentally quite immature.
right.
And got myself into quite toxic situations after that. But I didn't know how to, even though people saw me as a confident person who spoke her mind, I wasn't speaking my mind. I was speaking chaos because I didn't know how to truly stand in my power of what I wanted in life.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Totally got
And
you. Yeah.
standing in your power of what you want in life means you're going to disappoint a lot of people. But I
Right.
think the worst
Well,
thing is,
yourself, namely, aren't you?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the worst person to disappoint is yourself, because it just
Yeah.
continually you're
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
yourself. All those other people will fade away, but guess who's there every morning when you wake up? It's me. Oh, hi again. So best not to disappoint
So,
yourself.
was it that there was stuff already going on that you didn't want to be with him, so you went out and cheated in order to create
I
that
think yes,
situation?
on a subconscious
Yeah,
level, absolutely, absolutely.
right. And how
Yeah,
was it when they found out? How did you feel when they found
chaotic,
out?
chaotic, awful. Not a situation I want to be in again.
Did you feel
Yeah.
bad?
Oh yeah, definitely,
You
definitely felt
did.
bad. Yeah, definitely not a space I wanted to be in again. Definitely felt bad, but also, like, again, I was mentally quite immature.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't understand a lot of the concept. I hadn't done NLP. Youth is, you have to know thyself again,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I think the younger you are, spend time getting to know yourself. Do the work, do the courses, do the workshops, because
Yeah,
otherwise,
yeah, yeah.
that way you can really, these circumstances will come up, but you're going to learn to mitigate them so much better.
Yeah, definitely. And what about being cheated on?
Oh
How was
yeah, I've
that
been cheated on
experience?
multiple times.
Okay.
I think I like to, like, be in denial when I've been cheated on.
Right.
No, no, they wouldn't do that. No, no, because again, what does that say about me? Even when the evidence is staring me right in the face, it's just like I would try to rationalize it in my head. I think back, this is a very long time ago.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think how
yeah.
stupid that is. Like, it's just, yeah.
So you would have evidence, but you would just pretend that it wasn't happening, or yeah.
I would
Yeah.
have a massive blow up about it, but then I would let them talk me into believing their shit.
And you
Do you know what I
believed
mean?
it?
And I believed it because some part of me didn't want to be alone.
Okay, so
Again,
you
I
really
wasn't
believed it, or you just went,
I
I'm
didn't
gonna
believe it.
pretend to.
No, I didn't believe it. I
You
think,
didn't.
probably a part of me didn't want to be alone. You know, didn't want to be, yeah. And that's the thing, when you think about relationships, you go, well, I don't want to be in another failed relationship. I don't give a shit anymore. I just say to people in my life now, listen, I'm going to tell you if I don't want to do this anymore, because I'd rather do that than cheat on you, or do things that are unhealthy. So having
Yeah,
conversations like that, I think, in a relationship straight up is so important.
yeah,
Let's not get
definitely.
to that stage. Let's not get to that stage,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I want to have respectful, even if things don't work out, I want to have respectful breakups.
Yeah. So would you say that prior to the current relationship, did you have any healthy relationships before? Were they all
Uh,
messy?
they were all messy. I'd say, I'm definitely in my healthiest relationship, but I was also single for quite some time before I met my partner now. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and I did a lot of work. I mean, I've been doing the work for the last 15, 20 years, but I stayed single for a long period of time to be completely okay with being alone, which was, I
Yeah, yeah,
realized, the main factor is, and I got used to liking being alone, actually.
yeah.
So I
Nice.
think
Yeah,
when you make peace with that, it's okay when people flow in and out of your life or whatever happens. Again, it's honesty. I think when we cheat, it's a reflection of how we are dishonest with ourselves and our truths.
yeah, yeah,
For me,
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
for
mean?
sure. Yeah, 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 for sure, for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It's like,
really
what in your
interesting.
life aren't you being honest about that you need to cheat? What in your life are you not
Yeah,
being honest about that you need to cheat?
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
real
yeah, yeah,
question,
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's
right?
a good one, isn't it? Yeah, it's a good one. And I think there's so many people that have cheated, that do cheat. And I think that what it comes down to when I work with people on this is the biggest thing that we actually work on, because a lot of people will come into coaching with this sort of stuff, with a lot of shame, with a lot of guilt, with a lot
Mhm.
of hate for themselves,
Yeah.
especially men. I've had a lot of men that have come into coaching and admitted, they've talked about cheating, and it's like they're putting themselves down so much. But the reason that they've gone into the whole, having affairs or whatever it is because they were putting themselves down so much in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they needed the
Yeah.
validation because they thought they were a piece of shit before they cheated. So they cheat in order to
Mm,
feel better. And now they're still judging themselves for what they've done. So actually
mm,
it just keeps going. The cycle just keeps
the
perpetuating. So the
cycle.
first thing that I do when I work with people, men or women, on this is we don't worry about the affair. We worry about the judgment program. And
Yeah.
that's the thing that we build on, the permission to be okay with what you've done, because you've already, it's happened, you've done it, working on the part of the self-love that was missing in the first
Mm,
place that made them go in and cheat. And that's where the work is. Work on the self-love part, work on judging yourself less for whatever
mm,
in life, but also for what you've done seemingly. And that's where we go to with it. And it's often, even though people may come in and they go, well, I did it because I don't feel connected to my partner, or that they're not treating me right, and all the rest of it. And we start off on all those things, but when we really get down to it, we move away from them and what they aren't for us, and we move more into where we aren't enough for us,
yeah.
which is
Yeah.
what we're really searching for. It's so much less about the external relationship that actually drives us to cheat, and more about our own internal relationship with ourselves. Because if we had a healthy relationship with ourselves, we
Mm,
would be able to be more honest with our partner if things weren't going great, or if you're not feeling that connected, we start to converse. If our relationship ain't healthy with ourselves, we're not connected in with ourselves, we're going to go off and cheat rather than have those honest conversations. So
yeah. Yeah. And I think, any one of those lower, like, from a holistic perspective, any one of those lower vibrational feelings, they're not to say that they're bad or good, but anything you're sitting in, like the fear, the judgment, the self-worth, uh, those are always the things behind every decision that causes you harm. When you're acting on something that will cause you harm, underlying those decisions are always sitting those lower vibrational frequencies of
totally.
that remain in a cycle, that remain in your body. Shame,
Exactly.
fear, judgment, self-worth, low self-worth. They're just like they're sitting right under the surface, I find, because I had all of those.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And it's that's as you say, and that's the number one thing, isn't it? To get
Mm.
really clear that that's what it is, because
Yeah,
otherwise, it's always going to be the other person's fault, or it's always going to be out
yeah,
there, because we don't get taught to realize that this is, it's our own stuff that's driving it. And it's hard to admit that it's our own stuff that's driving it as well, because then there's further judgment on the fact that it's all me, it's all my fault. So it's about getting to that place where you can actually start to have compassion for yourself,
yeah, yeah,
for what has happened, because you've needed it blindly, not
yeah.
knowing what's really going on for you beneath it all. So
Yeah.
it's a
I
very big, yeah.
It's like, I think one of the biggest things that I realized was when I stopped realizing everyone's better than me as a human. I mean, that's how low my self-worth was. But to continually think that everyone makes better decision, everyone's a better human, everyone doesn't do this, everyone doesn't make mistakes in their life. Like, I always thought, well, I must make the biggest mistakes. I must do the worst things. The minute I was like, no, everyone is equally a piece of shit and everyone is equally amazing. You know what I mean? Like, that
For sure.
was the point. Because
Yeah.
in my head, I was the only one making such awful choices.
Yeah. Got you.
So
Yeah.
I think, like, we need to realize everyone has their own shit in their own way. They may not be cheating, but they may have other deceptive behavior. They may, they may be working through their own stuff. And it's interesting
Yeah.
because it always comes back to unity. We're so focused on the division of ourselves, the contrast of good or bad or better, that we don't realize that if we all realize we're the same, we'd solve the world problems right now. But that's such a big conversation.
Definitely a big conversation.
So
One
what
that
would
I've
you
been listening to a podcast on for the last couple of days.
Oh, really? Yeah, wow. I'll have to listen to that. What would you
Yeah.
say to someone who is in a pattern of being a cheater?
Okay, what would I say to them? So,
And
I,
I have had
yeah,
this actually said to me before, and they
yeah.
say, well, I don't really feel that much guilt. It's not really, I'm not feeling bad.
Well, if that's what they say, then carry on, right? What's there to say? If they
Yeah.
ain't got a
Yeah.
problem with it, then who am I to have a problem with it, right?
They
So that would
don't
be
feel
my first
guilty for
question.
the
Are
action.
you enjoying yourself?
Yes, they are, but they only feel guilty when they get caught. So during the
Okay.
action, during the process, during the cheating, and this is not me, by the way, just disclaimer. But I have had people I've dealt with before that they're like, I don't feel guilty. I feel guilty when I get caught. What is that?
Well, they feel guilty when they get caught. It makes sense, right?
But, like, I mean, not feeling guilty during the act of betraying someone. I don't know.
I
Like,
mean, I
where?
didn't. I can say that I didn't. I know it was a one-off when I was young. I literally, at that point in my life, I was literally there and I thought, I just didn't, like I said earlier, I didn't realize that men would be bothered about stuff like women were. And I was reflecting on this when I was thinking about us talking to have this conversation. I was like, at what point in my life did I start to realize that men had feelings and emotions too? And it was probably somewhere in my 20s where it just, this light bulb hit where I was like, they're just like us. So
Yeah.
when it happened at the time, I was a bit giggly about it, and I was like, he's not going to care. Like, he's not really going to be that bothered. He's not going to. And I don't know whether I really truly believe that, but in a sense, I was a bit like giggly. I remember laughing about it with my friends because I was like, oh, it's just a boy, it's just a guy. Like, he's not going to be that bothered. So I didn't feel guilty. Doing it. And I guess if people don't feel guilty, it's because they have justified something to themselves. And maybe it is because that person isn't giving them what they need, blah, blah, blah. So there's nothing to feel guilty for. They've made some justifications for themselves around it. They don't love me like they loved me at the start. I deserve to be doing this. So, yeah, I mean, that is completely normal in situations where people don't feel guilty. And then obviously when you get caught and people start flinging, bad words at each other and all the rest of it, then you're going to start feeling a bit bad. Seeing someone
Interesting.
upset, it brings it all to light, doesn't it? So,
Yeah. And what about
yeah.
someone that's in a relationship where they're continuously being cheated on? Like,
And they
how
know or
would
they don't know.
well, they subconsciously know, but they stay.
Well, I mean, that's their decision to stay then, isn't it? I mean, I've definitely had friends in my past where I've known that their partners have cheated, and even really close friends, and I have said nothing because I know that to say anything isn't going to make a difference apart from maybe to disrupt my friendships with them. And people go, how could you not have told them? But I literally have gone, I know this friend wouldn't do anything about it. And I remember there was one particular friend,
Yeah.
and he had cheated on her, and I didn't say anything, and someone eventually said something to her, and she stayed with him. And then the friend that had said it, they had a bit of a blowout, and I said, yeah, I knew it happened, but I knew you wouldn't leave him. And so there's been a couple of other friends as well along the way where I go, I know that they know. There's
Mhm.
no what me telling them is not going to make a difference. In fact, I remember one of them saying to me, we were kind of having this conversation where it was one of those conversations where I assumed she knew, right?
Yeah.
But in this casual conversation, the conversation went something like, yeah, well, that's men just cheat. That's just what they do. And I thought, she knows. She knows.
Oh
That's what they do. And they stay
gosh.
together and I'm not saying that they've got a bad relationship,
Yeah.
It's been a long time that these people have been together. And I don't know what happens now. I don't know, that was back then. I don't know what happens now, but it's, if they're okay with it, people can change. And this is the thing when we go, oh, man, they will, I was going to say a man, because that's what we say. A cheater will never
Mhm.
cheat. Someone will never change, but maybe they will. There's nothing to say that if people don't, resolve their stuff, let's say, or even they haven't even gone to do any therapy or any work around it, but have got older and have, resolved whatever it is within them that they've needed to themselves to stop it, then who are we to say that a leopard never changes spots other than the conditioning that we've had that once a cheater, always a cheater? I mean, I did it once.
Yeah.
I haven't done it again since, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Interesting. But then the person staying in the relationship, maybe that's not high on their value of needs in the relationship.
yeah, maybe
Subconsciously, the
they've got a higher
monogamy isn't,
value of, yeah,
you know,
a higher
of
value of the safety and security of the relationship. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
exactly, which is what I notice with people that I know have been in the similar relationships. I'm like, well, your highest value isn't that he's faithful. It's that he supports you, your child, and da, 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 and you're content.
well,
Or I guess on
you're
some
content, but
level,
you're not, or whatever. But yeah,
look,
you're there.
and
You're
I think what
staying.
generally happens is the children grow up, and then the woman that's been cheated on for such a long period suddenly goes, hold on, I don't have all this attention and focus to the child anymore. I suddenly can work on me. This shit wasn't okay. And then
Yeah,
it comes up, you
yeah, yeah, yeah,
know?
yeah,
Then it's a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
big, but it's always been there. It's just your value of needs, the hierarchy changed, didn't it?
Exactly. That's it.
So,
And just to caveat, it can be the other way around as well.
yeah.
It's not just always the
Oh, yeah,
man. It's just
absolutely. It's not always the man. You guys, all the men out there, I generalize because I'm just obviously got it in for you. I don't.
It's true as well. And the way that I look at it as well is like, yes, the percentages are the percentages, and yeah, it makes sense. But also,
Mm,
I look at it from a perspective of personality types, more than
mm,
just gender as well. There's certain
yep,
personality types that do crave more attention than others.
yeah.
There's some personality types that are more reliable, faithful, loyal, and that's
Mm,
a trauma response in itself. So it's whether we are uber loyal because of our traumas, because of our past experiences, or we're the opposite. We need the external validation and we cheat. Both the trauma responses is just what are we doing with them. So when we go for someone who's staying with someone, it's because they're
mm,
staying there potentially because they've got a loyalist personality type running. They're too scared to leave because the thought of leaving could be worse than actually staying, and they're putting up with stuff, which is not just a really nice person that's staying with someone, even though it seems like it on the outside. They're actually bound to them because of their own traumas. And the other side of that is the bad guy, but also
mhm.
similar trauma, just wrapped up in a different thing, which is I need external validation. So I'm going to find it wherever I need to find it. And
So
here we are.
as we sum up cheating, can we just define some pillars here?
I know
Eh,
this is
y-
it, isn't it?
I mean, I'm just like, as we sum up cheating, if you are what we've I think my summary of this conversation is that whether you're the cheater or the cheatee, whether you're imposing, like whether you're cheating on someone or being cheated on, it's both of it is a trauma response. Whether you stay, whether you go, whether you continue the behavior as a trauma response, and comes back to your self-worth. Yeah. Would you
Yeah,
agree?
yeah.
Would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, no, but yeah, potentially, yeah, for sure, definitely, probably the most common thing that does come
Mm.
up. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And people say, well, why do all this work? It's so hard. Why unpack? You guys always want to go deep. We're unpacking, we're going deep to make your life easier, people. Do the work to make life smoother. Because that's what happens. You do the work, you're not going to keep coming against these brick walls of making the same mistakes or being in the same situations because you did the work. That's why. Do it early, get it sorted, heal the trauma, live a good life. Right? Get
Never cheat
done.
again. You never be cheated on. Perfect.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't predict what's going to happen, but you
No,
can, once you take control of how you want to feel and move through the world, the only person responsible for your actions are you.
absolutely, absolutely. It's not what happens to us. It's how we, yeah,
How we
how we
respond.
perceive what happens to us, right? And
Yeah.
how we deal with that. So, absolutely.
Yeah. And if
Yes,
you
yes,
want
yes.
any more help in this area, Anita is a human behavior expert who does a lot of coaching one on one. She'll be happy to have a preliminary session with you. This is her area, this is her forte. Please reach out
Thank
to
you, love.
her. Thank you,
And I think
Anita.
that's, the really important thing within that as well is people can be quite surprised at the way that I talk and deal with these sorts of situations. People go, well, you're coaching all these men and you're okay with the fact that they're cheating and all of the rest of it. And, there's quite a lot of judgment around that. And for
Mm,
me, is to say that's the beauty of, you know, people come into coaching because they want to be better. They want to feel
yeah.
better. They want to get better. So the more that they can feel understood, heard, they're judging themselves enough to be able to come into a space where they're not being judged on, on the choices that they've made, but they're able to talk about them and reframe
Mm,
the way that they see themselves in order for them to, in theory, not do it in the future.
yeah.
So I think that's the big thing. It's like, this is, no judgment zone. So,
Yeah.
if someone's
Yeah.
cheated, come and talk to me. This is the last place you're going to get judged on something like that. So much compassion for
Yeah.
people in these situations. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Amazing chat.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see you soon.
See you soon.